Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Kodeations. In today's video, we're going to be diving back into the Cookie Run Kingdom and specifically taking a look at the PVE tier list for the month of October 2021. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Diving right in, ladies and gentlemen. So just like with every single tier list that you've ever seen before, they're very subjective. And that means at the end of the day, you might not agree with everything on this list. And if that is the case, then I invite every one of you guys to drop a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are and what you feel needs to be changed and why, just so we can all better understand where you're coming from. So with that being said, starting us off on SS tier, we're going to have obviously the 3 ancient cookies and the 1 legendary, obviously because they're the best in the game. I mean, obviously PVC for the support and the healing. We've got Holly Berry there as the best tank. Not only did she get a stat buff via the last update, she's also an ancient, so she's going to outscale with her base value stats anyway over other epic cookies. So definitely don't sleep on her if you happen to get her. And then last but not least, we've also got that Sea Fairy because she's just literally the only legendary, the best damage that you can output when it comes to overall cookies. And last but not least, she's got a 5 enemy stun, which not only is great in the PvE aspect of things, but also great in the PvP. So investing in her overall with your team composition is pretty much saving resources as well as just adding a ton of value to your team. Next up, we've got 2 additional cookies to add to SS. That's going to bring us to Licorice. That's going to bring us to DC. Both of these cookies are really good. All right, now you 100% can't argue that Licorice deserves to be SS tier. I mean, he overall disrupts enemies, helps mitigate damage utilizing the minions, applies a defense buff to your entire team to allow them to stay alive longer. The minions do a mega ton of damage. I mean, there's just a ton of value when it comes to utilizing a Licorice. So definitely should be building one, even if he's not used in your main comp for PvE. Should absolutely be somebody that you are looking to swap in and out if you do need a little bit more survivability or damage or whatever you're looking for. And then last but not least here, we've also got, and that's going to be DC. Now this guy is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. I think he's going to still be holding the #1 spot for tank outside of Holly Berry when it comes to PvE content. That's purely because his skill has a defense break, and it's an AoE defense break, which pretty much just reduces the defense of the enemies that you are going up against. And he's very crucial to use in things like the guild boss battle, because without him, your score would be significantly lower because you're not going to do as much damage to your overall enemies. Moving right along to the S rank, we've got a handful of cookies here. We're going to go ahead and place them all out. Starting this list off, we do have Sorbet Shark and we've got Black Raisin. Both of these are pretty much on par with each other when it comes to PvE content in the game. They both do a ton of AoE damage. Sorbet Shark focuses in on the front line specifically, applying damage to 2 additional enemies after or beyond the front line. We've got Black Raisin, which is going to be focusing centered on doing the damage in the center, but again, very good. They're both ambush cookies, so their attack percent is going to be a lot higher than the other classes in the game, just making them the perfect DPS units to add to your team overall, just to carry you when it comes to damage. Moving right along to the next one, and that's going to bring us to Strawberry Crepe. Strawberry Crepe, in my opinion, is going to be like the 3rd best tank in the game. I think she's #1 tank outside of Holly Berry in the overall PvP arena, but in PvE content, I just don't know if the shields are going to be really worth swapping out for the defense break on DC, or swapping out not using the ancient tank, which is going to be Holly Berry, because the stats are just that much better. So with that being said, she definitely still deserves to be here on S tier, but she is not going to be SS for me, at least, just because I think there's 2 better options above her when it comes to PvE content. Moving right along to the next one, and that's going to bring us to Moon Rabbit Cookie. In my opinion, I've actually slept quite hard on Moon Rabbit Cookie. I did not feel the need to actually build him and use him, just because I already had a Pure Vanilla Cookie from the very beginning when Pure Vanilla actually came out. So again, I've heard a ton of different things on him. I've heard some people say that he can be very good, especially early game if you happen to pull him and you don't have a good healer, because if you don't have a good healer, then he apparently can provide a ton of healing for your team and potentially allow you to not even use a healer in certain situations, because you already are getting heals from Moon Rabbit. Next up, we've got, that's going to be Vampire Cookie, arguably the best single target damage in the game, hands down. If you're looking for enough damage to be applied to 1 unit, specifically guild boss, or specific boss stages in the overall like 830, for instance, something like that in the World Exploration or the Chaos Tower even, he's very good. Definitely utilize him. The next cookie we've got here, and that's going to bring us to Mango. Mango, in my opinion, is going to be one of those just really good AoE damage dealers. He's got a slight addition to his skill that's not mentioned, and that's going to be, he's got a like push up or like knock back up or whatever you want to call it, that prevents people from utilizing their skills for a like couple milliseconds when they actually get hit with Mango's wave, making him very, very good. And he also has a small little attack buff, so you're getting AoE damage, getting a slight knock up, and you're getting the additional attack percent. I mean, you can't argue with it. It definitely is really good if you're looking for some AoE damage. Next up we've got, and that's going to be Parfait. Parfait here is going to complete our S rank. In my opinion, Parfait is very, very good for the additional healing that she can provide alongside Pure Vanilla Cookie to add to your survivability, but also very, very good for the debuff resistance buff that she applies to your entire team. You can't argue with it. It pretty much just reduces the amount of time that your cookies will be stunned or take damage from poisons, you know, just a ton of different things, making her very, very good. So absolutely should be building her if you happen to get her, especially when it comes to utilizing her alongside Pure Vanilla and Hollyberry. There's a really good composition for PvE that works very, very well with those three. Now, officially jumping in here and taking a look at the A tier, we've got a ton of different cookies here for you guys. So it's going to take us a little bit here. We're not going to try to cover everything, but nevertheless, we've got Raspberry here, really, really good single target damage dealer, going to snipe out the enemies with the highest attack. We've got Rye Cookie here, again, very, very good, kind of the opposite of Raspberry. I'm going to be focusing in on the unit with the least amount of health and pretty much sniping them out, doing multi-hits. Not a bad DPS to run. We've got Latte here, going to be focusing in on doing damage over time with the Latte glyph on the ground, but with a twist. She actually has the ability to silence the enemy or at least prevent them from utilizing their skill for a short term. Really, really nice unit here. Definitely don't feel bad about investing in a Latte and building her and using her for specific stages or just to add to your overall AoE damage to whatever team comp you are currently running. And then next up here, we do have Pastry, which again is very interesting to me because I actually did not build Pastry at all for PvE content. In my opinion, I didn't really think the damage was there. I know a lot of players have since, you know, kind of deboggled that and, you know, really have stress test her and think that she's very, very good for a damage that she provides. However, just keep in mind, she's a little bit selfish with her overall attack speed buff. It only applies to herself, not any other cookies, which makes her a little bit selfish in that aspect. But if you're looking for a damage dealer, she's not a bad one to pick up and use if you don't have something like a Sorbet Shark or a Black Raisin. Next up we've got, and that's going to be Lily. Lily's got a lot of utility for her stun throughout various content in the PvE aspect. Again, for certain boss stages like 725, where you really need to stun that boss, or maybe even some enemies that you are just getting wrecked by, she could pretty much jump across the line, stun the entire enemy team, and hopefully you can kill them fast enough when it comes to PvE content to just allow your entire team to beat the stage. Again, not a bad one to invest in. The next unit we've got here as well is going to be Mint. Now, Mint, in my opinion, is very interesting because I did not actually invest in him. I've never used Mint Cookie ever, not even once in the game, but a lot of players are saying that, you know, early on, if you happen to get yourself a copy of Mint, it's a definitely viable healer with the additional attack speed buff, which again, I mean, I guess can be very nice, but for me personally, I just never saw the reason to invest in Mint. But if you happen to get Mint early on, definitely don't feel bad about investing in him because that's pretty much what everybody else is telling me. For me personally, I just went straight in and I pulled for Herb, and I got Herb right away out of the mileage box as soon as I possibly could, because he did provide all of my healing up until somebody like Pure Vanilla came out into the game. So again, that's going to be where those two are placed. We've got Poison Mushroom here. Poison Mushroom is very, very good for damage done to the guild boss battle, and the guild boss battle gives a ton of free resources to players out there. So absolutely worth picking up Poison Mushroom and building them on the side, kind of similar to like Vampire, right? You're going to use them for specific content. Outside of that content, you're not really going to use them, but still very viable. Next up we've got, and that's going to be Sonic and Tails. In my opinion, they're not going to be cookies that I would be worried about investing in for a long term. They're very short-term lived cookies. They're only going to probably make this tier list because after this tier list, and we get into what, next week pretty much, this event is gone in the game. You can no longer get a copy of Sonic and Tails. You can no longer promote Sonic and Tails. So with that being said, there's just going to be really, really hard to pick and choose them as a really good DPS unit. However, them currently in the game, they're going to be placed on A tier because they are pretty good for what they do, and they are ambush cookies, which means their attack stat is going to be, you know, a lot higher than the other classes in the game. Last but not least here, we've got 4 A tier, and that's going to finish us up with a Mala Sauce. The brand new Mala Sauce cookie here, she provides a, I think, 25% crit rate up to the highest crit rate up units that you already have on your team, and she's going to be doing AoE damage that then provides a burn debuff to the enemy's team. Very, very nice. I don't think that we've seen the full scale of Mala Sauce yet. I think we need to get her to max. We really need to stress test her out, especially when it comes to something like the guild boss battle, because you never really know. She could absolutely be just as good as Poison Mushroom in the guild boss battle, but again, we don't know until we actually can do some more stress testing, so I'm going to place her in A for now. Moving right along to the B category, we've got a handful of cookies here as well, but for B specifically, we're going to be taking a look at all of these ones here. We've got Squid Ink listed here on B. Again, Squid Ink offers a ton of AoE damage, but I don't think it provides anything else past that. I think there's a lot of other AoE damage dealers that do a little bit more than Squid Ink and provide more damage than Squid Ink, and that's going to be the reason why I think that Squid needs to be placed on B and it's not going to be higher on the list for me personally. Same thing goes for Almond. I think that you can still run scam comps in PvE aspect of the game, but it's not going to be as popular, and there's going to be better cookies that you could run. However, running an Almond on your team could definitely aid you in getting more damage overall, but just keep in mind he's not going to be the best to run, you know, right off the gate. Same thing for Pomegranate here. She does provide a little bit of healing and she provides an attack buff, but it's not going to be enough to really live and survive off of the heals, and the attack buff isn't going to be anything greater in my opinion than somebody like Mango's up here at the top. So if you want some more damage and still get the attack buff, then I would obviously run a Mango over somebody like a Pomegranate. Next up we've got, that's going to be Espresso, man. This is a sad day because I think Espresso doesn't get as much credit as he used to, and that's going to be because there's a lot of AoE damage dealers that have just pretty much outshined him at this point, especially when it comes to PvE. He's going to be placed here on B. Just really quick, fast burst AoE damage that he provides, does several hits. Again, I mean, he's a viable option early game, but after that, I think he really falls off when he compares to somebody like Sorbet Shark and Black Raisin. Next up we've got, and that's going to be the Red Velvet. In my opinion, Red Velvet's going to be very, very niche. It's going to be one of those cookies where you're only going to use him in certain types of content. He's going to reach out, grab the enemy, pull him to the front, stun that enemy, and it works very well for stages like 725, but I don't think that he's going to outshine Tiger Lily in that sense. I think Tiger Lily is a little bit easier to finesse and fit to your overall team comp. Next up we've got, and that's going to be Milk. Obviously we already know what Milk is. Milk is going to be a frontline tank, very good early game. After that pretty much falls off. I know that he's been kind of working his way back up a little bit from these past couple updates and some changes and stuff that they have done to his overall skill, but I still don't think that he's really worked his way up farther than B tier. Last but not least, we've got for B tier, and that's going to house the brand new Twizzly cookie. Twizzly, in my opinion, is really, really good is going to be really, really good in meta in PvP, but I think for PvE specifically, it's going to be very, very tough to utilize her. I definitely think that she's got a spot. I don't think she's going to be the bottom of the barrel, but I think that she's going to be very, very tough to be able to utilize and really build a team around, because you really, really need that crit percent damage, because her base stats are just not as good as some of the other damage dealers, you know, higher up the list. The next one up we've got here for C, and we've only got 3 cookies here. We're almost done. We've got 3 cookies here. That's going to be Madeline, Sparkling, and Werewolf. Werewolf just got a buff to his overall range, making him a little bit more viable than the D rank, but definitely not going to be a cookie that I would invest in for long term. I definitely think early game, if you happen to get a Werewolf, then sure, use him for the damage. I would probably only build him to like level 40, and then I would cap him at level 40, start building up other damage dealers as you start to pull them in the overall gotcha. Sparkling, a little bit of healing, nothing too major here, better than the cookies in D, but nowhere near coming close to a herb cookie, for instance. Last but not least, we've got, and that's going to be the D rank here. All these cookies down here in D, definitely do not invest in or use them, in my opinion. It's a waste of resources. I know everybody does get somebody like Chili Pepper at the very beginning of the game, and obviously use her as you need her, but as soon as you get the ability to pick up somebody like a Sorbet Shark or a Black Raisin, or even a Vampire, I'd probably say at this point, it's going to be 10 times better than running somebody like a Chili Pepper. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So that's going to officially conclude the PvE tier list for the month of October 2021. Man, as always, guys, if you disagree with something, let me know down below in the comments. I would love to hear what your thoughts are, or who you would shift around and why you feel they need to be shift. At the end of the day, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get notification every time we drop a video. We will be going live here on the channel tomorrow playing some Roblox. So I hope to see all of you guys here. If you like to play Roblox, man, it's going to be a awesome, fun time. It's going to be a Friday community stream. We normally stream longer than our normal standard time, and not only that, we play with the viewers. If you want to play, definitely make sure you are here on the channel tomorrow, 8 p.m. CST. And as always, guys, I will see you on the next one.